Most raiding guilds don't die in a dramatic explosion. There's no big argument, no Discord meltdown. No one rage quits mid-raid, they just stop. One week the raid is thin, the next week you're short a healer, and then somebody quietly stops signing up. And eventually the raid just doesn't happen anymore. I've seen it happen, I've been close to it, and I've made the mistakes that lead there. So today I want to talk about 5 mistakes that quietly kill while raiding guilds, and how to avoid them. Before we get into this topic, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's tuned into these videos over the last week or so. The insane amount of interaction and feedback, and you guys sharing your experiences in the comments has been truly humbling and heartwarming. It's crazy how many of you guys are out there. But yes, thank you guys again for sharing your stories with me and allowing me to see how other guilds function or what kind of issues are out there, and letting me know that it's not just me that's come across these problems. It seems to be a common trait. How's it going, guys? I'm Abysmal, and I'm the guild master and raid leader of a 2-night Mythic raiding guild in World of Warcraft. This channel is about the unseen side of guild leadership, not parses or boss guides, but the decisions and systems that keep a guild alive across multiple tiers. Everything in this video is something that I've either done myself or watched happen slowly over time. Mistake number 1. Letting expectations stay vague. This one kills more guilds than bad DPS ever will. When expectations aren't clearly stated, people don't ask for clarification, they invent their own version. One player thinks we're pushing for cutting edge, another thinks this is a chill mythic raid with friends. Both think they're on the same page, but it's not the case. Early on, when our guild was transitioning out of being a social guild to more of a progress-focused guild, during that transition we leaned way too hard on vibes. We assumed people understood where we were heading, but they didn't. At some point before this transition period, there was a very clear crossroads that was presented to us. It'd gotten too much for some of the raiders that were wanting to push more and wanted more out of the raid, wanted to see later bosses. Frustration got the better of them in some cases. We had a few misfires over mechanics not being done correctly or in an inefficient way, and those who were enjoying how things were currently going were completely caught off guard, because in their eyes things were going well. So if you haven't experienced this personally already, you can quite quickly start to see how things can go wrong here. So yeah, the real danger of vague expectations isn't open conflict, it's silent resentment. People feel blindsided instead of corrected. If you want a guild to survive long term, expectations need to be spoken clearly, repeated consistently, and written down somewhere visible, i.e. a Discord channel or something like that. If expectations only live in your head, they don't exist. Mistake number 2. Delaying hard conversations. Now this one's a tough one. Avoiding hard conversations feels kind in the moment, but all it really does is push the cost into the future, where it is then to come back bigger. Performance issues, attendance problems, attitude concerns. Every time I've told myself I'll deal with it later. What started as a small issue turned into a raid-wide frustration. Other players noticed morale took a hit. Hard conversations don't need to be aggressive, they just need to happen early. They need to be done in private. They need to be done very clearly and respectfully. If you wait until you're frustrated, you've already waited too long. Mistake number 3. Treating recruitment like a side task. Recruitment almost never fails overnight. It slowly fades into the background. You stop checking applications as often. You stop posting because we're stable right now. You assume you'll deal with it later, but then 4 people leave in the same week or the same month. Something crazy like that's always around the corner. You never know. You know, that's the thing. You have to be prepared for this with recruitment. In a 2-night raiding guild, it's not like a setback, that's kind of a crisis, because typically 2-night mythic guilds don't have a large bench to pick and choose from. You know, limited time guilds don't recover quickly from roster shocks. You don't have extra nights, or you don't often have extra nights to absorb losses. One of the biggest lessons I learned is this: if you only recruit when you need players, you're already behind. Recruitment should feel boring when it's done right, because it's constant. Mistake number 4. Making one person the glue. This one sneaks up on a lot of guilds. Everything runs through one person: the scheduling, the recruitment, strats, conflict resolution. Usually that person is the guildmaster, or more specifically when they are the guildmaster and the raid leader. At first it feels efficient, decisions are fast, things are moving smoothly, but what you're really building is a single point of failure. If the guild only functions when one person is pushing, it won't survive that person getting tired. Delegation doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist. Imperfect help is better than silent burnout. And mistake number 5, letting the team burn out quietly. This last one is the hardest to catch because nothing really looks broken until it already is. Team burnout doesn't show up as complaints, it shows up as disengagement. Less talking between pools, less banter, people don't seem to be enjoying themselves as much, but that can be mistaken for concentration and locking in. Fewer questions being asked, more people just doing the bare minimum and then logging off after raid. The raid still happens, but the energy's gone. This happens a lot in limited time guilds, especially after long progression walls, or even after a successful tier. Players start asking themselves quiet questions. Is this still worth my time? Am I actually enjoying this, or just showing up? We ourselves as a guild have called seasons off early, because either we've just defeated a long slog of a wall of a boss, and the next one's an even bigger wall and we just don't have it in us and we don't see any benefit in continuing. This is often done through polls though, this isn't just a snap decision from leadership. It's a community-wide question, it's asked throughout the raid, and then whatever the answer is there is what we carry out. Back to the point, and the dangerous part about that is nobody says anything unless they're asked specifically, because nothing feels bad enough to complain about. You're still raiding every week, you're still getting together, you're still getting pools in, but is progress really happening? In our case, some of the biggest warning signs weren't missed raids or bad performance, it was people logging in on time, or not on time for that case, playing fine and emotionally checking out. And once that happens, fixing it takes far more effort than preventing it. The fix isn't hype, it's just awareness. Calling even short breaks and progression can help sometimes, but this can also make the problem worse. This one's a tricky one. You have to really, really be careful with that one. And like I said, just acknowledging when a tier has been drained, and instead of pretending everything's fine, you just call it. If leadership doesn't create space to reset, the team will do it for you by leaving. Now, here's the most important part. None of these mistakes mean you're a bad leader. They're common, they're human, and most of them come from caring too much, not too little. Guilds don't survive because leaders get everything right. They survive because leaders notice when something isn't working and change it before it becomes fatal. If you're a GM or officer or raid leader, let me know in the comments which one of these mistakes hits closest to home. In the next video, we'll be getting more tactical, how to build a roster that survives absences without destroying morale. If you've ever cancelled a raid because one person was missing, that's the one for you. Thanks guys for tuning into this video again. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.